Let me also add that the Upper West region has the poorest road network in the entire country, and request for the following roads to be tarred. They are namely: 1. The Sabuli Hand Tumu Road, the Kajupere Wahabu Tumu Road, the Wad Dormo Wishau Road, and more importantly, the Wa Kumasi Road, as mentioned earlier. Your Excellency, since the majority are peasant farmers and depend solely on seasonal rains, we are pleading with you to revisit the irrigation policy of the Northern Ghana, which was initiated in the early 1980s by His Excellency, the late Dr. Hinademan, and later by his President, Nana Akufo-Addo. And when these are revisited, it will certainly increase agricultural production in the region and food security at large. In conclusion, we, the chiefs and members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, wish to commend you and your government, and also thank you for putting smiles on the faces by commissioning the office complex of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs. However, we appeal to you to assist in the rehabilitation of the office. Your Excellency, we wish you success in your presidential ambition. Once more, we welcome you to the region, and we wish you and your entourage a successful and happy stay here. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. Now the Community Dumalai, who's the Dafia Mana, and also the President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, my own father, Powele Kabo III, is also the Paramount Chief for Laura and the Vice President of the National House of Chiefs, my revered Paramount Chiefs from the Upper West, I greet you this morning. I am here in my humble capacity to have some few remarks before my boss, the Vice President, comes to address you. First of all, let me apologize sincerely for the delay in coming to meet with the House members. Indeed, he's insisted we don't delay anywhere, but the nature of this job, sometimes you can't run like that. You got to pay attention and listen. And so when we left the previous one, I left ahead of him to come and meet you. And indeed, I'm grateful for your attention when I came to see you, and we had some interaction earlier. So my apologies again. Number two is also to thank you sincerely for your time. I know the distances you've covered, and to be here. I really appreciate your time. Our Queen Mothers, beautifully dressed. We thank you very much for being here. For me, as your humble servant, as the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, we've had interactions over the past year I've been in office, and I can tell you that there are prospects for the Chieftaincy institution to take its rightful place. Indeed, with my boss coming, he would outline some few areas for you to hear. We believe that running this country needs your involvement and your engagement. And so you will touch base with some of the pertinent issues that confront the House. But for my job, simply to introduce him, we've come as a group with your own son to the region. And I came here and I explained to you that coming from where I'm coming from, a Christian background, sometimes people just question. I say, no, this is the man who is capable of breaking the barriers. Not only that he's competent, he's sincere, he's honest, and to the next level of Ghana, we need such a person. And that's how some of us, we've committed to his cause. And we've had a good chat before he came in. So this time, it's not a long speech, but I humbly would want to call on my boss, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, and the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Dr. Mahama Bawumia, to speak to the House. Thank you. Now, President.
Thank you very much. Now, President, now Vice President, Namine, Namine, a distinguished delegation that I've come to the House with. I'm most privileged and most honored to have the opportunity to be here this morning, and I want to add my voice to thank you for making the time to meet with me this morning and my delegation. I arrived in the Upper West region yesterday as part of my campaign tour. Of course, whenever I come to the Upper West region, I'm coming home. And so it's always a pleasure to be here. And when I say I'm coming home, there are two parts of that homecoming. First of all, I'm coming home because I'm coming to the north. I'm coming to see my fathers, my mothers, my brothers, and my sisters here back home. I'm also coming home because politically, for our party, this is really home. This is the heart of the Northern People's Party that was formed by SD Dombo, by Abai Fakabo, Momoni Dimbie, Jato Kalio, BK Adama, and that group of stalwarts of the Northern People's Party in those days. The heart of it, interestingly, was from the Upper West region. And so when I come back home and I come to the Upper West region, it is really almost spiritual for me to be back here, knowing the selflessness and sacrifices of all the people who work so hard in putting the Northern People's Party together. And that Northern People's Party has eventually metamorphosed into the New Patriotic Party. But however, notwithstanding the fact that the genesis of our party has been the Northern People's Party, our leaders, being as selfless as they were, when it came to time for taking the leadership of our party, SD Dombo sacrificed and gave it to Professor Busia. And that has been how everything has been going since that time when he gave up the leadership which he was entitled to. And since then, no Northerner has led the party and until now. And so it even became an issue in the country. People kept saying our party was an Akam party, and therefore no Northerner will be allowed to lead the party. However, I made a bid for the leadership of the party last year. And when I made that bid, there was a lot of skepticism. People were saying, how do I think that the MPP will allow me to lead the party? But I kept saying that our party was really a very diverse party. And I believe by the grace of God that it was possible for me to be elected as leader of the New Patriotic Party. And so it was with a lot of honor that I felt when I was elected to lead the party in November last year. I believe that the history, and it is history that has been made for our party to elect the first leader from the North. And I also think it makes a lot of sense. And I am standing essentially in the shoes of which I am not able to fill anyway, but I'm standing in the shoes of all the pioneers who sacrificed everything to build this party. And one of their sons is now leading this party. And so I am thanking all of you because I came around when I was seeking the leadership and asked for your support and your prayers. And you did give me your blessings. And so, notwithstanding all the challenges, I was successful. And now I am campaigning, starting my campaign across the different regions of Ghana. I'm moving across quickly. The Upper West region is the 11th region that I have visited. And so after this, I'll have 5 more regions to go in this first round of campaigning. And then I will come back again to do specific constituency by constituency campaigning. I am most grateful for the opportunity. And I'm coming to the Upper West region, and you as the owners of the region, because you own the land of Upper West. And I am coming as your son to seek your blessings and to seek your prayers and to ask for your support. So for me, as I embark on this journey to win the presidency of this country, I believe that as vice president, within the very limited confines of the authority of a vice president, I believe that I have been able to do a lot within my limited authority to impact the development of Ghana in so many ways. When I came in, I focused on supporting the president to solve a few critical problems that this country faced. I knew that the world as a whole was moving towards a digital age, and our country could not be left behind, that we needed to be participants in the digital age, otherwise we'll be left behind. And the digital age is really an age where we try to make sure that the digital technology comes to bear on our problem-solving ability, that we use technology to solve our problems. And so when I started as vice president, I was focusing on some of these areas. So for example, in the digital transformation of all countries in the world, everybody focuses initially on making sure the citizens all have identity. Because if you don't have identity, you cannot participate in the digital economy. So the foundation of our participating in this global digital economy is to make sure that all our citizens are identified. And that is why I focused on the issuance of the Ghana card. And today, you have about 17.6 million Ghanaians who have been issued with the Ghana card. And we are now going to go into the schools to do the school children. But what is also good is that now we have put in place a system where if a child is born in anywhere in the Upper West region today, and you take that child for weigh-in in the hospital, that child will also be given a Ghana card ID and a birth certificate ID at the same time. So the Ghana card is giving us this unique ID, and with it we are able to solve a lot of problems because everybody is uniquely identified. One area that we have used the Ghana card to solve problems is in the area of ghost workers on government payroll, because every worker must have a Ghana card number because your fingerprints will identify you. And so we require that every government worker on payroll must be related to the Ghana card. Once we did that, we were able to get a lot of ghosts out of the system, because whilst individuals have fingerprints, ghosts don't have fingerprints. So once we ask for their fingerprints, they all run away. And we found 44,000 ghost workers on the National Service payroll, and found 19,000 ghost pensioners on the SNIT payroll. Together, the National Service was payroll, 44,000 out, was saving us about 400 million cedis a year. The Senate payroll was saving us almost 300 million cedis a year. Between the two, it's over 700 million a year. Just two institutions that you are saving this amount of money simply because you are insisting that workers use the Ghana card to identify themselves. So this problem of ghost workers that has existed with us since independence is now solved. Is now solved, and that is a big gain for all of us. Another problem that I focused on was to make sure that our people have access to financial services. Before, it was really a preserve of the elite who are bank accounts and so on. But many of our people had mobile money accounts. The only problem was that the mobile money you could only transfer money within the same network. If you were a Vodafone customer, you can transfer to someone who is also Vodafone. If you were a MTN customer, you can transfer to someone who also is MTN. But I think that what we then decided to do was to implement something we call mobile money interoperability that brought us the ability to transfer between different telecom companies, as well as between the Momo account and the bank account. And we have done it. And Ghana is the only country in Africa that you can transfer money from a Momo account to a bank account, and from a bank account to a Momo account. And that really has helped us becoming a very financially inclusive society. and we are making a lot of progress. I also focused on the fact that we didn't have addresses. We in our country, since independence, the address system was very limited, and you needed a new address system in Ghana. Otherwise, if you are going to visit somebody, then it has got to be go to the Wachi Sela and turn to the right, and the Blue House and turn to the left. That was the nature of address, directing people. But we brought in a digital address system, and that means there's no village or town that you can go to and you will not find an address. And that is something that we have also done. Another thing that I have focused on is to make sure that our hospitals, the patients' records are all digitalized, so that your records will no longer be on a folder, because sometimes you go and they will say they can't find your folder in the hospital, and that is a problem. But now we are trying to digitalize every hospital, every clinic, every CHIPS compound, all the data. We have finished with the teaching hospitals, we have finished with the regional hospitals, we have finished with the district hospitals. By the end of next year, we'll finish with every hospital in Ghana, including the CHIPS compounds, which means that if they transfer you from Laura or from Jirapa to come to Wa, when you come to Wa, you no longer need your folder to bring it along. You just give them your ID and they'll tap it, and your data all your record will be on the computer. The doctor will therefore be able to treat you. If they transfer you from Jirapa or Funsi to go to Kolebu, you don't need any folder. You just take your ID. Once they put it in Kolebu system, all your health records will be there, and the doctor will do that. We expect to finish every hospital by next year, but we have finished teaching hospitals, regional hospitals, and also district hospitals. And so that will help the doctors give us a lot of good treatment across. Today too, because of digitalization, you can buy your electricity on credit, you can enroll on national health insurance and renew your national health insurance also remotely on your mobile phone. Another initiative which I championed was the one constituency, one ambulance, and we've done it. And after the COVID problems, we realized that there was a major deficit of hospitals in many districts. So I made a proposal to the president, and he agreed, and we decided that we should bring in this project called Agenda 111 to make sure that every district in Ghana which does not have a district hospital will have one, and every region without a regional hospital will have one. And right now we are proceeding with the construction of the Agenda 111 hospitals. I know there are about 4 in the Upper West regions that are ongoing right now. In the whole of the 5 northern regions, we have 27 of these Agenda 111 hospitals that we are building, and it will help us all move forward to do that. I have also, amongst some of the policies that I have pushed for, which we are now enjoying, is the free senior high school education policy. And that is a policy that, for us who come from the north, it has been really God-sent to us. Why do I say so? You look at the senior high school enrollment. Since we came into office, the increase has been huge. When we came into office, the total enrollment in senior high school was 800,000. That is between independence and 2016, we only had 800,000 students in senior high school. But in the last 7 years, between 2017 and 2023, we have increased the number of students in senior high school from 800,000 to 1.4 million. So 60 years of independence, we had 800,000 students. In 7 years of free SHS, we've added 600,000 students. So it means that there was a real need for a lot of students whose parents could not afford, and the opportunities are now going. But what for me is very, very interesting about the data is that the top 5 regions in the enrollment into senior high school are the 5 northern regions. The top 5 of the 16, the highest enrollment is coming from the 5 northern regions. And that tells me that there is really a need for our students, because many of the parents could not afford the senior high school, and now they are taking the kids there. But what is also more important is that now, before there were more boys than girls in the senior high school. More boys than girls, but now there are more girls than boys. More girls than boys. Today, when we came in, for every 100 boys, there were 68 girls in senior high school. For every 100 boys, there were 68 girls. Today, for every 100 boys, there are 106 girls. So the girls have overtaken the boys in the senior high school, and it is a good thing. Recently, we have tried to improve their studies. We are giving them tablets, which are basically computers, for them to have all their learning materials on it and do that. So the senior high school, and also their performance in the WACSI exam has gone up dramatically. From the best 6 subjects of 45% pass rates, today we are at 64% pass rates. This is a major increase. And so we are very, very happy. It's not that we've solved all the problems of senior high school. There are still some problems we have to solve, but the students are really getting a big benefit from the senior high school education. And then when we have also added technical and vocational education, which we have invested a lot in. And so over the last 7 years, we've invested 6 billion Ghana cedis in technical and vocational education. We have upgraded all the 34 MVTIs, the 10 technical universities, as well as the 13 colleges of technical colleges, and really brought state-of-the-art equipment across. In addition to this investment, we have made technical and vocational education free in Ghana. And that is really that has increased the enrollment from 60,000 to 159,000. So the students are benefiting, because now we need skills for them to come out into the world of work. So Your Majesties, these are some of the things that we have been doing to as far as my contribution in terms of governance. As I said, I have proposed the one constituency, one ambulance. We have done it, the Zongo Development Fund, the Goal for Oil policy. I can point to at least 33 different policy initiatives that I, as Vice President, have been able to support the President and champion their implementation. And so what I am saying, my fathers and mothers, Your Majesties, is that if, as Vice President, I have been able to support in doing all this work with the limited constitutional authority that I have, I will make the case that if you make me president with all the constitutional authority, I will do much more for our country and for our regions. That is what I want to plead of you. I have a lot of ideas that I want to bring to change what we are doing. A lot of ideas. I know that the projects that we've executed and completed in the Upper West region, there are about 531 projects that we've done so far in the Upper West region. But I take a lot of point in the area of roads, that we really need to do a lot more in the area of roads. And that is going to be done. before the end of this year, fingers crossed, the Sunyani all the way to Wa, the road, I think we are going to see some major improvement in this major road. I've been talking to the Minister for Roads about this major road that is coming all the way from Sunyani to Wa. And I want to see a dramatic improvement. Not only just quota, I want to see asphalt all the way. Asphalt all the way. So this is something that I'm expecting to be done, not after the election, but before. Before the election. I don't want to say, vote for me and I'll make it happen. No, I want to say, I want it to be done so that you will see that it is done before we even get to the election. So we are going to do it. There are major roads, to Mochichulga is another major road that is my father, the Tumukuro, keeps, reminding me of every time we meet. And it is something that is also something that we need to work on. So there are quite a few roads, even though we've done some roads, but there are some critical roads that we need to get done in the region. And I also believe that if God gives me the opportunity, the Kamba Dam irrigation project is something that we really need to get done in here. My major focus, if I can talk a little bit about my vision, my major priority in terms of development in this country is to focus on agriculture. Is to focus on agriculture because we have a comparative advantage in agriculture. So far, we have focused largely on small-scale agriculture, but I believe that we need to change and focus on large-scale mechanized agriculture supported by irrigation. That is what will change and transform our country. So I am going to really put in the resources in agriculture so that we can farm the produce and process the produce here. Process the produce, whether it's in our share trees or our rice or our maize or any soybeans, we can farm and process the produce here. So I want us to focus on agriculture. The other thing I want us to do is to orient or change the way we generate electricity. And we have already started something in the Upper West region. But I want Ghana to move away from using fuel to generate electricity, which we import, to using solar power, which God has given to us for free. Solar power in our generation mix can reduce the cost of electricity by at least 50%. So I want, over the next 4 years, God willing, when I'm president, to bring about an injection of 2,000 megawatts of solar power in our generation mix. And for us to generate that type of solar power, you need the land for the panels. And most of that land will have to probably come from the north, because this is where we have the sun and we have the land. So that, and not only should we generate the solar panel power in that way, because of the vast number of solar panels that we are going to need, we need to set up the factories here to manufacture the solar panels rather than importing the solar panels. So that will also create a lot of jobs, and we can export also to West Africa. We don't only have to use the panels in Ghana. So that is where I think we need to change the way we are doing things. We are also going to, my major focus also is to reduce the tax burden on Ghanaians. I want us to change the tax system. I want us to move into what I call a flat tax regime. So a regime which is simple to understand by individuals and businesses, is transparent, and is easy to comply with. It's like the way we pay tithe in church. If it's 10%, it's 10% for everybody. And that is very simple to understand. I want to change our import duty regime. At the moment, a lot of people bring goods in, not through Tema, but they take them through Lomi. And then from Lomi, they basically do the smuggling into Ghana. And we lose a lot of revenue. So I want a new policy on import duty such that Ghana's import duty cannot be higher than the import duty in the Lomé port in Togo. We will cap it at that level so that there's no incentive for anybody to smuggle through Togo to come to Ghana. So the smugglers will disappear, just like the ghost workers disappeared when we asked for the Ghana card. So I'm realigning our import duty policy to that of Togo. So we will not charge higher than that of Togo, and therefore we will get a lot more revenue coming into Ghana once there is no incentive to smuggle goods out in there. I also believe that we need to have a much closer partnership with the chiefs. One of the problems that I see is that chiefs have largely been, to some extent, sidelined in the governance of our country. But they are the most influential people in our country. So it becomes a problem for government. If you are governing and you don't have the chiefs closest to you, we need a partnership between the government and the chiefs for us to be very, very successful. And so I am going to advocate for a review of Section 63D of the Chieftaincy Act to grant the chiefs more powers, because sometimes even summoning people to the palaces, the issue of the power to do so arises. And so we have to look at giving the chiefs some more powers to be able to exercise their duties effectively and help government. A lot of cases don't need to actually get into the courts. Many of the palaces can solve many problems given the right authority. But I know that to ask you to do that, we need to also resource you in the palaces to be able to do it. My manifesto committee on chieftaincy has come with a recommendation which I am going to fully endorse, which is saying basically that we need to review the allowances that we are paying to the paramount chiefs. That is very important. We need to increase it, what they call living allowances. Then we have to also pay the divisional chiefs and pay the queen mothers so that the whole institution can help government. But because if you are only paying the paramount chiefs, there's a big gap that is left behind between the divisional and chiefs and the queen mothers. And we need to bring them all as an institution to help us to solve a lot of our problems. And so it is a recommendation that I'll be outdooring, and it's something that I believe we should really do a lot of to do that. One of the other areas we believe that the chiefs can help us a lot is in the area of mining. As you know, we have a lot of gold and other minerals. Ghana has 7 gold belts all the way from Axim Winneba belt to Laura Nangodi belt. Such a huge amount of gold resources. But right now, we have issues with a lot of small-scale miners, galamsey issues, the destruction of the environment, and so on. And I want us to re-look at the whole licensing regime and the supervision regime of the small-scale miners. I think we need to license them to give a lot of community mining schemes so that we can supervise them, provide them with equipment. But the licensing at the district level and the chiefs must be part of the district mining committees in providing the licenses, because you know the people in these areas better than anybody else, so that you are part of the whole process. We'll set up a minerals development bank to help, provide financing for the miners to be able to do. And if we were able to organize it properly, I believe we will do a lot better for this country and keep the resources in Ghana rather than take them abroad all the time. We are also looking at focusing beyond that on tourism, on the creative arts, on our pharmaceuticals, our digital economy. I believe that the youth of this country have an affinity for digital, and we can give them skills in these areas. I propose to train 1 million youth in digital skills such as coding, software engineering, and so on. The good thing about acquiring digital skills is that you don't need a degree or a certificate to learn. As long as you can read or write, we can train you to be someone in the digital field. And you can sit in your homes in Jeffrey and be working in Australia because you are doing it over the computer. You will have all the skills to be able to work in other countries whilst you are here. And we are going to train 1 million youth in this area to get us jobs so that they can be worthy of, they can get employment very, very easily in the digital field. So we are doing so much in terms of what we want to bring about in Ghana to change our country. My fathers, my mothers, your majesties, of course, I'm not able to speak completely on the whole manifesto, but these are some of the highlights of the things that I want to do. I want to make a comment on LGBTQ+, which I know has been a subject of conversation in this country. And I want to give you the assurance that our traditional values are not compatible with LGBTQ+. And I will never stand for it. I will never allow it. Not today, not tomorrow. Our traditional values don't allow it. Our religions don't allow it. Christianity, the Bible doesn't allow it. Islam, the Quran doesn't allow it. And our traditional religions also don't allow it. So it's no, no, no across all the divide. So no matter what the consequences are, we will hold on to these, our values. The practice is not going to be accepted, not by me, not at any. So we are going to hold on firm on this matter. As I keep saying, this election is a very unique election. The nature of this election has never happened in Ghana. This is the first time that you are going to have two main candidates for an election, both coming from northern Ghana. I mean, it's amazing. This is the first time you have two main candidates coming from northern Ghana to contest. And so this is a very, very important election for the North. We will get a president. That is clear, because the two main candidates are coming from the North. But the question is, which of the two can do the job? Which of the two can do the job? I have told you the sort of things I've done as vice president. I can list 33 different things as vice president that I have been able to do to make a lot of changes. My opponent as vice president cannot list one, even one. So the score is 33-0. So that is one thing. People have said that I have been the most impactful vice president in Ghana's history. So my record speaks for itself amongst your two sons. I can do the job. The second point is, even if you consider that we can both do the job, one can only come for 4 years and is gone. I have the opportunity to come for 8 years. So if the presidency is coming to us, do we want it for 4 years or we want it for 8 years? So I think my mothers and fathers, I think that it's in our interest to have it for 8 years. Because when it leaves, it may take a long time to come back. So we should get it for 8 years with somebody who can do the job to help all of us. So that is my case I am making to you. God bless you and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Could we give your son a round of applause for such an excellent presentation? Thank you. At this point, now President, now Vice Nominee, Pognomine, we would like to take a few questions and suggestions that you may have for your son as he embarks on this journey. We are hard pressed for time, unfortunately, because of this upcoming event in Persi. So we would like to limit our questions and suggestions to 3, and then we can proceed from there. So, Registrar, if there are any, we are ready to take it at this point. Thank you.
Please, you identify yourself and go straight to your question.
Thank you very much, President, for the opportunity. I am Sankanana. My question is, the Ministry of Education, for that matter, Ghana Education Service, introduced special schools known as STEM schools. I think almost all the country around have got their fair share of these schools. But that of Upper West region, I don't think we have got one now. So I would like to remind Your Excellency so that you also remind the Minister of Education to consider Upper West region for at least 1 or 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, now President.
Oh, sir. Chief, if you could sit down, it's okay. Thank you. Go ahead with the question, but just sit down and ask the question.
I would prefer to stand.
Okay. Okay.
In the House, that's our orders here.
Okay. Okay.
It's a small parliament.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, now President, for the opportunity. Your Excellency, the Vice President, we are privileged to host you. And from your address, you mentioned some issues that are very interesting and pleasing to my ears. I am the coordinator of welfare affairs in the Regional House of Chiefs. My name is Kuro Osman Devia Nangpa, Paramount Chief of Pulma Traditional Area from the Sisala West District. The mention of increment of allowances to reflect the living conditions of the economy of the country at the moment is so pleasing to the ear. And I, on behalf of the House, thank you for that thoughtful idea. In fact, currently we receive 1,000 Ghana cedis for a month, which cannot even fuel my car from Poloma to Wa for a meeting and back. So they are not realistic. We are also very grateful for the mention of roads, especially in the Sisala area, because we were conspicuously missing in the distribution of the EU farm access roads distribution. Somewhere last 2 years, we were in Accra, led by chiefs, Zinikoro, myself, Tumukoro, and others, were all part of the delegation that met the Minister of Agriculture and that of Roads. Today, as we speak, both ministers are no longer at the ministries. The Honorable Bright Achampon and the new Minister for Roads should turn their attention to the EU Farm Access Roads saga that is yet to be resolved. We are told the Upper West region is part of the grain basket of this country, and that if Ghana were to suffer any grain challenges, the Upper West region, especially the Sisala area, could feed the country for over 18 months. We are recently told by the Minister of Agriculture that the maize from the Sisala area is the best in the whole world. If we can give Ghana this tag, why are we being neglected in terms of roles for the agricultural sector? That is the question on the mouth of the youth and, of course, the chiefs and the people of the Sisala area. So I'm pleased to hear that you will be paying attention to the road sector. I will end by commending you on diversifying the energy sector in Ghana, and that you intend to add over 2,000 megawatts of power through solar. My traditional area and my family in 2015 were approached by a private developer to give us solar energy. My family released land over 150 hectares for such a company. But after change of government, the investor never returned. I am pledging on behalf of my people that that land is still available for such purposes. If you come, we shall make it available for you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Now, President, His Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. I have three concerns. One is about the free senior high school. It is a laudable policy, fantastic policy. When it was launched in 2017, most of these members of the House applauded it. You talked about tablets for students in free senior high school. In fact, we are grappling with discipline in most of the senior high schools, to the extent that students no longer listen to their teachers. They rely on leakages. And so the ban on the use of mobile phone, which is still in force. Yet, some of these students manage to get leakages, rely on them instead of relying on their teachers and their capacity to study and pass very well. Those of us on this part of the country, we are brought up with honesty, sincerity, and that is why during the colonial era, down south there, people relied on a northerner to be a watchman. And so we normally bring up our children in a way that we don't want them to steal. Now these tablets, how can you assure us that students will not have access to pornographic material? They will not have access for these linkages in order to get these leakages. Because we believe that training the child morally, socially, and academically is more important than academically alone. So give us that assurance. My second concern, His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, it's about the roles which now President referred to, and also you also referred to it. Interestingly, we are so happy that you said before the year ends, something will be done from Sunyani to Wa. I plead for you to extend it to Hamlin. Now, if you look at the level at which the road is damaged, not because of our vehicles, but because of foreign vehicles, mostly the landlord countries, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and the rest, they are damaging our roads. Now, there was a road toll which has been taken up, I don't know for whatever reason. But I think that these people, the way they are damaging our roads, something must be done, at least about this road toll, for the government of Ghana to get something in order to maintain the roads. My third point was the very last point you made. For us, we are fathers. The two of you are our sons. Whoever wins the presidency, we are happy. However, I want to advise that you are brothers. The use of intemperate language should be avoided. Campaign on your policies and what you can do for Ghanaians, and see each other as brothers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we'll take answers.
Oh, sorry.
To the Thank you very much.
Traditional area.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for those questions. I think the first question had to do with STEM schools and the fact that we don't have a STEM school in Upper West region. I think that is, in fact, the case. The STEM schools have just been started, and of course, every region will have a STEM school. But I think that so far, we've had STEM schools in 6 regions out of the 16 regions so far. They are in 6 regions. So we will continue to build the STEM schools, because that's really what we want to help our children with. Every region must have a STEM school, and I think that is where we want to go. But so far we have STEM schools in 16 regions, and 6 regions out of 16, and I think that is the issue that we are going to. So Upper West will definitely get a STEM school. We are going to, and of course, I know that you've talked about the allowances to the House of Chiefs, the divisional, and so on. This is something that we are taking seriously, because 1,000 cedis is difficult. The roads, I think that and especially in the Sisala area that you mentioned, given how the productivity in agriculture is so high, maize and other things, is something that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to, and we've got to make it right. It's just unfortunate the EU funded roads that came in. We didn't really get many in the Sisala region. I guess doesn't. We'll have to take another look at it. I agree with you that in terms of our schools, discipline is a very, very important issue, as you have said. But I want to assure you that the tablets are very controlled. We can even remotely shut off each individual tablet. Can be shut off, and their use cannot be beyond what is on the tablets. So you can only go beyond the tablets and go and try to do things outside the confines of the tablet. So there's no worry that they are going to be using the tablets for other purposes other than educational purposes. All their textbooks are on there, their lessons and so on, notes, past question papers, and so on. So we were very aware that there's got to be some discipline in the use of these tablets. So they've been designed, and even if somebody steals the tablet, it will be useless, because you can only use it in senior high school, and if it is reported, it can be shut down remotely, and that tablet wouldn't work anymore. So I think that we are very much cognizant of the problem of the tablets. The roads, again, very, very important. The road tolls discussion is taking place as we speak, and so we may hear something about that. So I think it's very, very, and then finally your advice. I think you are very right in terms of the contest. It has to be peaceful. It has to be devoid of intemperate language and all of that. But that is generally just my nature. I don't, I have respect for everybody, and I have respect for all my elders. I see this contest as a contest of ideas. Just present your ideas, and your opponent will present their ideas and explain your ideas. So I don't do insults. I only do ideas and make my point. So I think that that should be the case for all of us who are in the contest, to make sure we maintain the peace and lower the tension in terms of the election. I thank you all very, very much for your questions.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. Mr. Registrar said there was a presentation from the Regional House of Chiefs that was to be made to His Excellency. Right after the presentation, we would like the pleasure of the chiefs to have a group picture with the flag bearer and a closing prayer subsequently. Thank you.
Your Excellency, members of the House, honorable ministers, Upper West Regional House of Chiefs has a presentation for His Excellency. We want the following criminals: Gole, Busa, Sen, and Dafema Pognal to come and do it quickly for us, for time's sake, please.
Thank you. This white smoke is a sign of victory in 2025. It's beautifully dressed by our paramount queen mothers. Yes, yeah.
The white signifies purity. So we wish you all the best in your endeavors, and probably congratulations in advance.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'd like to use this opportunity to say thank you on behalf of the Queen Mothers, and then to ask for, okay, let me allow the Vice to have a seat before I can continue.
Yes, the group picture. Would like to...
With your permission, Coordinator, would like to say one thing as Queen Mothers.
Okay.
Okay. So we are saying thank you very much for all the ideas that you have to empower the Queen Mothers as the chiefs or the regulators of the community. We'd like to add that as our Queen Mothers, we don't have a vehicle that can commute us to various places to do our work better. We would like to just, this is an immediate thing, if it's possible to be, that we can have a vehicle that we can use and an office just to start with. We'll be very appreciative. Thank you very much.
It is possible. It is possible. His Excellency, they take the
Yes,
picture opportunity.
The group pictures.
The group picture, where will you suggest, Mr. Coordinator?
They come forward here.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.